on Peacock.
This time next week, I'll be sick in bed with West Nile virus, thanks to a mosquito bite right in front of my house.
In 8 minutes, my daughter will be in an ambulance, having an asthma attack, triggered by cockroaches.
I'm going to be bitten by a tick today, and I won't even know it until Lyme disease turns my life upside down.
Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the CDC.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions.
Now.
And now we're taking...
With the first pick.
This is the last ball you got to bet.
The Inside Drive. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good morning. You are listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We are sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. As always, you can listen live and local on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast, as well as as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can stream us live. Just search ESPN Northwest Florida. You can also visit ESPNPC.com. Click the Listen Live button when you're on that ESPNPC.com website. Don't forget to scroll down and check out that Tiger TV logo. 6,000 channels, NHL, NBA, NCAA, all the good stuff for just $15 a month. You can't beat that. Tiger TV Pro. You can also download our free mobile app. You can just search 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida inside the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Download that free app and you can take us anywhere you want to go. I am sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Don't forget, you can visit them at 2251 West 23rd Street in Panama City. All you got to do is just drive east on 23rd Street and you run right into the giant Kramer signs. All those new trucks and SUVs, all that great inventory they do have in stock. And also, you can't miss Kramer Marine and Outdoor, as they are Yamaha Mastered certified mechanics, and they can get your boat back on the water. If you hear that great advertisement that's running around on ESPN Northwest Florida, Chris Kramer always says, tired of 2 weeks, waiting for 2 weeks to get your boat fixed, give them a call. They do have Yamaha Mastered certified mechanics in store there, and they can get you back on the water ASAP, as it is summertime, and that means water is aplenty. You got to get out there and fish, boat, have a good time. And if you're coming out to Bay Point Golf Club, you're actually trying to avoid that water. So Bay Point Golf Club, it's bumping. Excited to have Bill Hunt in studio with us today. Bill is our new assistant pro out at the golf club. He started back, it's almost been a month now, huh, Bill?
That's right, buddy. In about 1 month.
1 month. That's a quick month, and we'll get a little bit of your backstory here momentarily, but excited to have you on board. Another beach town. You've kind of been all over, came from one coast, coming back to the other. Give us your thoughts on Panama City Beach so far.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. A lot going on here, that's for sure.
I would say I couldn't have drawn it up better but out here. So
there you go.
One beach town for another. A little bit of better sand here than San Diego.
And that's why you'll just get a little bit closer too.
Sure.
There you go. And that's why 1,000 people a day are moving to Florida. It's the best place to be, especially here in Panama City Beach.
Sounds like science to me.
It is science. There's no doubt about that. And also science is Beach House Sales Development. Beth and her whole team there. If you need somebody to get you here to Florida, whether it's an investment property, whether you're looking for some land, whether it's residential, just check out Beach House Sales Development. They do an awesome job. 8 lovely ladies in that boutique brokerage, just killing it every day. Had a great May. Ended the month with 5 closings in the last day of May. But again, if you're looking for a real estate company to get you across the finish line. They're quick, responsive. They know all facets of the real estate market. That's Beach House Sales and Development. And then when you get to that closing table, there's only one place to go. That's South Oak Title and Closing. 20 locations across the country, but 4 right here inside the Florida Panhandle. You can check them out at in Panama City Beach, 30A, Destin, as well as Lynn Haven. Just check them out. All real estate fees are basically the same, Bill. So you got to choose a title company that's fast, friendly, and they got the latest technology. And if you've ever been inside a South Oak office, they are absolutely spectacular and do a wonderful job.
I'll have to stop by.
Yeah, you're a new Florida resident. Maybe eventually you have to be buying some Florida property. It's kind of the thing to do.
Got to trade out those California tags first, buddy.
That's right. But we appreciate you filling in. Jay Henley's enjoying some time up there in Georgia with his family. I know he had a crazy week last week with all the junior camps, but a great junior camp. I'm going to try to come up with my own Jay Henley tip of the week. They're usually pretty hard to beat, especially with the grocery bags and using your butt to close doors and all sorts of stuff. So he's notorious for his very unique tips of the week, that's for sure. But Bill, tell us a little bit about yourself. You joined our crew at Bay Point Golf Club, which is a really good crew. It's a family crew and all that stuff. So we're excited to have you on board. And there you go.
So bright.
So bright. That's why you got the shades on. See, you put the shades on before you knew how bright it was going to be. That was smart. You had a premonition there.
I got a good crystal ball.
There you go. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, and we went to college together at Coastal Carolina University, which we're going to talk a little bit about Coastal later on today when we hit the baseball regional update, which there's still several games going on today, which we're excited about. But yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, and welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Yeah, good shirt, by the way. It's almost as good as my.
Almost as good as your bee sweater.
Almost as good.
Yep.
But we'll start there. But yeah, I've only been living in PCB for about a month now. I'm right there on Thomas Drive, only 8 minutes away from One Bay Point Golf Club. And again, Ryan, you just mentioned I'm the new assistant golf pro out there. I may or may not be giving lessons to folks. I may be having a lesson today at 3 p.m.
There you go. So the May is the answer to that. And they can reach out to the golf club if they're looking to schedule a lesson with you. And we got a great team out there. We got Jay Henley, who's our director of instruction, but then we have yourself, Gavin, and then don't forget about Earl the Pearl Bowles out there. So lots of opportunities to get some lessons. But yeah, continue on.
What a gem. And a gentleman. He might be a scholar, not sure yet.
All of the above. All of the above. Yeah, if you've not met Earl Bowles, then you probably aren't living.
That's a good way to put it, right there.
Because he's also the Cracker King. I don't know if he started giving you crackers yet.
I may or may not have a few crackers already.
Yes, yes. He keeps everybody. But yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep on going, Bill. Appreciate you joining us again today.
No, yeah, happy to fill in. Jay, if he's listening, you're in trouble, buddy. I hope wherever you are in Georgia, because I know your geography skills are a strength.
Yes.
I hope
Northeastern University.
I hope he realizes he shouldn't have gone away this week, but we'll get to that in due time.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. So, you kind of were out of the golf business for a little while, but now you've been sucked right back in to the glorious business that it is. And I do got to give you some serious kudos. Since you joined the team at Bay Point, you've jumped right in, and your lovely gift of gab is certainly appreciated by our customers, and really helped to get that sale that we had running really rocking and rolling.
I appreciate that. The Memorial Day sale that we had at Bay Point, I wouldn't say it sold itself, but it was a lot of fun, and that's number one. As the assistant golf pro, as long as you're having fun, people are having fun, everything kind of takes care of itself.
It's a super simple business mantra. That's one thing I think we've been, and people out there can correct me if I'm wrong, but one thing I think we've been really successful with over the years is just making your golf experience out at Bay Point Golf Club fun, enjoyable. I mean, golf's stressful enough as it is, and most people come out there, they have these high expectations to shooting great rounds, and usually it doesn't come to fruition, so people get frustrated. So having fun, we got a great group of ladies on our beverage carts, Desi, Christy, Tammy. They just make sure you're hydrated out there and having fun, but you nailed it on the head, and when people come into the shop and you're in there, it's certainly a fun time. There's no doubt about that.
Ryan, I highly encourage all golfers, if they are able to do so, to hydrate aplenty with some frosty beverages.
That's right. And one of the good things about frosty beverages when you're on the golf course is that can have a very positive impact on your golf game. to a certain point. We talk about it on the show often, and I always use my hand motion because I am a lot of Italian in me, so I have a lot of hands moving all over the place.
Certo, right.
even Liam does, which is crazy. Him and my mom will talk, and they'll just do all this and go back and forth. But anyway, that bell curve on the golf course with your liquid hydration, your swing oil, your swing lube, whatever you want to call it.
I call them swing coaches.
Swing coaches. That's even better. And
they're not professionals. They're
it
just
gets
coaches.
up to the top. It gets up to the top. It's good. But if you go too far and you get on the other side of that curve, things could go downhill quickly with your golf game.
It's kind of like your billiards game back in college.
Oh, that is true. I feel like that was a lot longer of a bell curve. It wasn't really a bell curve. It was a very sharp incline, and then when it got to a certain point, it would just drop straight off.
That was a cliff, buddy.
That was a very, very deep cliff. And then sometimes those are some stories we may not be able to repeat on the air, but some good stories nonetheless. Maybe one of them ended up with the ditch. I don't know if you remember that one or not.
I may or may not recall that, Ryan.
Yes, you may have been in the same situation I was, that's for sure. But hey, sometimes when you want to go home and if you don't have a ride and you can walk, why risk driving when you can walk? There's no doubt.
Always a good idea.
Sometimes there's some irrigation ditches in your way, too. That's for sure.
Maybe you got a little exercise out of it, too. Hey, why not?
It's called a win-win.
Love me a win-win.
No risk and good exercise, unless you trip and fall in the ditch. But that's neither here nor there. But
you got to be on the lookout for those ditches.
But speaking of that Memorial Day sale, we're about to bring a very similar sale back. Hard to believe. Was it 2 weeks from yesterday? Father's Day is coming up, June 18th, if I'm not mistaken. Father's Day weekend, a big weekend here in Panama City Beach, and also at Bay Point Golf Club. But we're going to be running another awesome sale. It's going to be, again, you spend $200 in the golf shop, and you get a free round of golf. We're going to run that from Monday, June 12th, all the way through Father's Day, June 18th. A lot of ways you can use that sale. You can, spend the $200 in the shop and give the round to dad. Spend the $200 in the shop, give dad all the merchandise and the free round of golf. Or you can spend $200 in the shop on or you can use the free round on yourself, give the merchandise to dad, or a combination of all three. And you can do it twice and come out and play with dad, because there's no limit. You spend $200, $400, $600, whatever it may be. You spend $800 worth of merchandise and you get a foursome. Makes perfect sense.
Sounds like we're just giving away the pro shop these days.
It really, really does. But the beautiful thing is, we talked about it, and we've talked about it on the show, that people come in and they say, I spend $200 and I get a free round of golf. They immediately think it's some kind of gimmick or scam, and it doesn't take long for that light bulb to go on. You've seen that light bulb go on many people's heads, whether you've persuaded them or not, and I know you persuaded a lot of them. That's
ding,
for sure.
Ding. Yeah, when that light bulb goes off, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and it's to be the consumer, to come out and have such a great opportunity to buy some. I mean, we got some great stuff in the golf shop now too, and we still have stuff coming in as we're jumping right into the middle of summer. And speaking of the middle of summer, don't forget we've got the Bay Point Billfish Open is coming up the end of this month. We're getting closer and closer and closer. It's only 23 days, basically 22 days at this point. That kicks off on June 27th for everybody that's involved on a sponsor and also that has a team in the event. That's going to be the crew and sponsor dock party at 6:30. And then Wednesday, June 28th, we kick it off with our Bay Point Golf Scramble, which has been sold out for many, many weeks now. I know a lot of people are excited about that one. And then the registration for the tournament, you got to check in. It gets started at 2 p.m. that afternoon, running all the way to 9 p.m., followed by your captain's meeting, as well as your captain's banquet. And then the first public event for the Bay Point Billfish Bay Point Billfish Open will start at 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's the tournament kickoff dock walk. That's going to be a great time, followed by a concert on the Roberts and Roberts stage right across from the clubhouse in the Marina View Park. That'll be at 8 p.m. And then Thursday, all the excitement gets started. Bill, you still have a chance to register if you want to, starting at 8 o'clock that morning, but I'm assuming everybody's going to be in, ready to go. 9 p.m., the boats will leave the Point South Bay Point Marina at, I corrected myself. I almost made a mistake on that one, Bill, but I did good. You go 9 o'clock, all the boats will be heading out to the Gulf. 10 p.m., they'll be moving a little bit west. They'll see that Panama City Beach flare get shot off the pier. They'll all know then to head out 150, 200, 250 miles, however far they want to go to get out past that shelf and start trying to find that state record blue marlin. Bill, do you know what that prize money is for that state record blue marlin?
I believe, if memory serves from listening to your fine program here past few weeks.
There you go.
Is it a cool 2.3
$2.5 million. I'm very impressed with you because it took Jay about 3 weeks to get that $2.5 million down. See, you're already gunning for his job.
I told you, Jay, if you're listening out there in Radio Land, you're in trouble, buddy.
Radio Land. That made me think of, the correlations today, if people are paying attention, are just going to be perfect. But again, tournament gets kicked off 10 a.m. on the 29th. Everybody heading out deep to the Gulf. That night, got another sponsors party and a concert at 8 p.m. The scales open 4 p.m. Friday, June 30th. That's when everybody's going to be coming out. That's when the party is really going on. Everybody's hanging out there at the marina and on the dock, getting ready for the big fish to come back in. Another concert 7:30 that night, and then Saturday, July 1st. Last but not least, opportunity to bring those big billfish in from 4 to 8 p.m. The scales will be open that afternoon, and then Sunday, July 2nd, it all culminates with the award ceremony at 10:30 in the morning.
What a party!
It's just going to be basically a 5-day party, just right there in Bay Point, at the marina, at the golf club, right across the street. We're going to be having a lot of fun.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
You're going to be there one way or the other, so it'll be a real good time. But what's crazy is this thing ended back in 2012. Now it's been taken over by new owners, including our owner and a couple other people locally here in the area. But the anticipation for this one is massive. There's no doubt about that. It's been 11 years since the last Bay Point billfish tournament that transpired, and they happen all over the Gulf. You've got Gulf Shores, you've got Biloxi, you've also got the one over there in Sandestin. So they're trying to make this one was always the biggest back in the day, and I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to get it back up there again, and make some awesome stuff happen. Hopefully we can have another state record, because that $2.5 million cash prize would be pretty exciting to hand out.
Exciting times ahead, amigo.
It's crazy. You've only been here since the beginning of May. You've already got this huge billfish tournament coming. You're starting early. You're peaking. Hopefully we're not peaking early. Hopefully we can ride that all the way through the summer, as it is going to be an awesome summer.
As a former surfer, you just keep riding that wave, Ryan, until you crash on shore.
That's right. And speaking about surfing, you went out there to State Park and take a look at some of the waves when we occasionally have waves here in Panama City Beach.
Yeah, I got to find me a longboard out this way, because it looks like they're a little more gentle cruising waves compared to San Diego.
Unless you got a tropical storm or something off the coast bringing those big swells in, typically it's a little lighter, but you get some good action over there by the jetties, that's for sure.
Keep a lookout for those, what is it, the double reds?
Yes.
The flags? Yeah.
The double reds. As long as you're tethered, you're good. But other than that, promo for safety in Panama City Beach is make sure you stay out of the water when you got the double red flags, or you can get in some serious trouble, that's for sure.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, but if you're tethered to a longboard or a regular board, you're good to go. That's when you see some of the best surfing out there. I know several people. I bet you we can find you somewhere where you can get a nice longboard, that's for sure.
Love it.
I think we do have a call on the line. Who do we got out there?
Hey, this is Paul from Conway, South Carolina. How are you?
Paul, Zoosh, what's up, buddy?
How are y'all doing?
Good. How are you? See?
Yeah, well, Lindsay and I just three-putted for par on a par 5, so you guys can tell how I'm doing.
Hey, you were on the green in 2, though.
Hey, Paul, get a couple swing coaches.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a call.
Yeah, there you go.
No, Frosty swing coaches, Paul.
I think he's playing in a pro. They may not encourage the Frosty. I know Paul will be having some Frosty swing coaches after his round today, but I don't know. Right. They should let you. I feel like they should let you have libations in these.
I think it's called frowned upon.
Nah, frowned upon. All right, what you got for us, Paul? You got 2 Chanticleers in the studio this morning, so let us have it.
Call.
Well, so what was it? Thursday, we decided to pull a Kevin Cash, and let me tell you, I was down bad. And I know you were as well.
No, it was so depressing, especially the way it ended.
History repeats itself, and I love Gary Gilmore. He has brought me plenty of joy over the last 10 years of my life, and I was like, man, but you see this now. I'm just kicking myself, just like I did during the BYU football game. But I was doubting Jamie Chadwell. Afterward, I looked at my buddy, Will Del Mastro, and I said, Will, never doubt Jamie Chadwell. And let me tell you right now, Ryan, never doubt Gary Gilmore.
You can't. He's a legend. You can't.
Chanticleers.
Although we wanted to doubt him, we were really not happy when he pulled Liam out of the gut. I don't know if he pulled or whatever happened. No hitter through 6, and then you take your starting pitcher out, and the rest is history.
Too many analytics these days.
We're here. Lindsay just.
Paul, you still there? Let's see if we can pick him back up after the break, because I know, Randy, we do got a break coming up here. So, Paul, if you're out there still, give us a call, shout back. And if anybody wants to give us a call, the phone lines are open all show today. We do have Doc A coming online at 12:20 our time. But you're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is designed specifically for sports fanatics like you. The sports content you demand is always on. Live stream our national and local sports talk anywhere you go. Reach us on all social media. You can also be a part of the show. Call and text into our studios. Plus, up-to-the-minute weather and traffic maps. The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is available at the Apple Store and Google Play.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Monday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, some sun and a high of 81 with a gentle breeze out of the south around 8 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clear skies and a low near 71. Tomorrow, mostly sunny most of the day aside from a likelihood of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening and a high around 82. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Shoreline Rentals, Panama City and Mexico Beach vacation rentals are ready for your visit to the sugary white sand beaches and emerald green waters of the Gulf in Florida's Panhandle. Shoreline Rentals' years of experience means hoping you plan a wonderful beach vacation or management of your home will be a breeze. Visit their website or call them today, shorelinerentals-pcb.com or 850-757-7118.
What's that grin about?
I just took a load off my staff by hiring Fresh Start Cleaning Services.
How'd you manage that?
Fresh Start Cleaning Services allows our team to leave at the end of their shift and not have to stay and clean after a double. They're happy, and you should see the difference having a professional cleaner makes. Plus, now I know exactly how much the cleaning cost will be for the year.
Wow, that would make anyone smile.
You can call Fresh Start Cleaning Services at 850-771-6057.
First, sports talk right now. Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I know it seems a bit overwhelming at first.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
Something makes me think you'll get used to it.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. You're listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. As always, you can listen live and local on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast. You can watch us live, even though we have great radio faces. Bill, I appreciate you being behind the shades today with your Bees sweater on. Did you hear me say sweater earlier today?
I did. I appreciated that
if
one.
If Jay would have been in studio and I said sweater, he would have had no idea what the heck I was talking about.
Blown.
No idea what I was talking about. But we lost Paul. He was calling in. I know he's playing in a pro in the Alabama Northwest Florida PGA section with his assistant pro out there at Sharks Tooth, Lindsay. Lindsay's a really good golfer, so hopefully she can carry Paul to a good score in that round. But we got another good friend of the show on the line. Alan, how are you doing today?
Doing great, man.
Are you hunkered down in a bunker at work, or you got some freedom today?
I am still in the foxhole.
That's the best place to call from, that's for sure. Man, a lot of stuff to talk about from this weekend full of awesome sports. I don't know if you caught any of the NCAA regionals either on the baseball side, which we're going to dive into a little bit more here later on the show. But, man, just so much. For a time where there's not a ton of sports going on, there really is a lot of great action to watch here in about another week and a half. So it's going to come to a screeching halt, that's for sure. What do you got for us today?
Oh man, I was just gonna say, if I win like I did this weekend a couple more times, man, I might actually call you from a boat for real.
There you go. Yeah, you were on fire this weekend. I was trying to kind of keep up a little bit, but yeah.
And I had literally one bar. I had to get. I was at my granddad's, which is in the mountains in Virginia, so there's no signal out there. And I actually had somebody come and install internet just so I could make bets. Isn't that terrible?
Nice. No, that's terrible. That's called dedication. And if you're gonna, have the title as one of the biggest gambling degenerates in the history of ESPN radio show, you've got to get yourself a little Wi-Fi tower out there. There's no doubt.
Alan, that just sounds like smart money to me.
Yeah, what's not smart money is Adam Hadwin going 7 over and killing me.
That's all right. You made up for that nicely on all your other stuff going on. That's for sure.
But I just wanted to follow up with you on that the basketball game last night.
Yeah.
Did you see what happened? They switched the lineup. Jokic wasn't a facilitator, and the Nuggets lost. They didn't even look the same.
No,
they were really out of sync.
So much to talk about in this. I know we'll be joined by Doc A at 12:20 Central Time. But yeah, I mean, if you tell me Jokic scores 41 points and the Nuggets are going to lose, I think more often than not you say that's not possible. But I think you nailed it. He got shut down as a facilitator. Only 4 assists on the night, and it's almost like the Heat were giving Jokic the shot because I think they bought into that. What you just said, take his ability to move the ball around and control the game. I mean, they only lost by what 3 points, but still, stealing one.
It's always going to be tight because they're at such a huge disadvantage, personnel and skill wise. But I mean, to give yourself a shot, it's almost like a crazy war strategy where you basically burn the ground behind them just so you don't give them a chance to retreat, and then you hunker down and just grind it out. Like, they really are such a huge disadvantage. But if he can't facilitate the 10 points Brown would probably get, or the 7 points Jeff Green would probably get, because Jokic is such a good passer, will probably make the game.
Well, and in the regular season, when Jokic had fewer than 6 assists, they were 3-7. So that only means there was 10 games out of the 82 regular season games where he had fewer than 6 assists. But when he did that, they lost 7 games and only won 3. So obviously that strategy paid off for sure last night.
That's wild.
Yeah, I literally, it's just come from watching them. I really didn't know that stat, but that makes such complete sense because the games that I have watched where it seems like as they say, they start slow or they look sluggish is when he's not able to facilitate. So it's a series again, thankfully, and I think they carry a lot of momentum with them back to Miami.
I will tell you, if that ticket down there in Miami is going to be a very, very hot one because it was rocking in Denver, but I think we're going to see a different level of excitement down there in Miami.
Oh yeah, God bless everybody that actually goes to the games in Miami. I tried once, and I didn't make the game.
So it happens. So you're saying they're going to be a little raucous, that's for sure.
Sure, I would be worried about some of them Nuggets players, man, if they get to the nightlife, because they ain't got nothing in Denver in comparison to what they got in Miami.
That is true. Yeah, I saw briefly. I didn't see a whole lot of the game last night, but they broke away and showed Red Rocks out there, and that kind of sums that up right there. South Beach, in which I've been to Red Rocks. It's an awesome venue. Saw Bush and Stone Temple Pilots there. It was a really good time. But
the old STP.
The STP with their new singer, obviously, but he sounded pretty darn good. But yeah, a little different on South Beach, that's for sure.
Hey, just real quick on the golf, I wanted to give a shout out to Victor Hovland, man.
True.
Such a great win for him, man. Being that he's young, and we kind of had talked about it when you joined us on the podcast, and Jay picked him for his little lineup. That at some point he was going to break through, and I'm really happy that he did it in such a loaded field. Because whether it's a major or not, you can't take away from the accomplishment, man.
Yeah, and did you see what he's doing today?
No, what's he doing today?
So he won the Memorial yesterday, elevated event. So I think he won $3.6 million for first. He's won $9.4 million so far this season. I was going to talk about it later on the show, but today in the golf world is known as the longest day in golf. It is U.S. Open sectional qualifying day, which I'm going to break down that a little bit later on today with Bill. But he's caddying for one of his buddies in the U.S. Open sectional qualifying. How about that?
That's legit, man. I love it. He seems like a humble guy too. Like he's never come off as somebody that takes it for granted. And I remember when he first came on the scene on the tour, I think it was him, Wolf, and Morikawa were the big three new guys. And Wolf got a win, Morikawa got a win, and Hovland just kept grinding, man. And it never looked like he ever let that pressure get to him or had, the distractions from outside voices, which is, great to see, considering, I hate to bring it up again, but how Rory is so easily distracted now, and he's an elite golfer by the things going on around him. I think Hovland has a pretty high ceiling going for him right now.
Or a pretty chill ceiling, depending on how one you look at it. Victor's always I think it's just the way he looks, but man, he looks like he's teed off and ate 3 or 4 gummies before he hit that first tee.
Right.
Maybe he does. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he just likes to be relaxed, but I don't know if you heard either in the press conference afterwards, but they were asking Victor about who over there in, what is he, Norway, I think is where he's from. And they were, I'm pretty sure it's Norway. And they were, the reporters asked, to tell us a little bit about, because he was sitting next to Jack Nicklaus, and they were asking about the people and what they thought about Jack over there in Norway. And he turns to Jack and he goes, I don't think there's very many people in Norway who know who Jack Nicklaus is, which I thought was a pretty funny comment, considering he just won his tournament and he's playing there, and sitting right next to Jack. So, but yeah, super chill guy. Obviously, I think he's somebody that the fans really got behind and, did well in that playoff. And I think it shows, when you're a little more experienced golfer, whatever it may be, Denny McCarthy, not that he's really, super experienced or anything, but, not a big time guy. And that first playoff hole, Victor Hovland steps up and pipes one right down the middle about 320, and Denny blocks it a little bit right and gets into some trouble, and Victor goes on to make par and win the tournament. So definitely happy to see him get the dub, especially with next week's going to be a big golf week with the U.S. Open coming up.
Oh yeah, and hopefully we can get you guys back on the show for another draft, man. I want another crack at Jay. I know he won.
Yeah, yes. Now, I won the draft.
Oh, you won? Oh,
yes, Jay just did better than you. That's where it came down, yeah. Yeah, no, don't take my glory away. I haven't done very well in all my other stuff.
It's something about courses that have water in play and me picking golfers, it just doesn't mix, man. I'm glad I don't actually play golf, because if I did, it's probably telling of what would happen to me.
You can find a little bit of that water out there.
Yeah, man. It's wild. Like, I text Keith about it all the time. I said it on our podcast last week when I was making my picks. I was like, look, anybody I pick, I'm just going to let you know they're guaranteed to hit the water at the worst time, and Hovland literally proved me right.
Yep. Absolutely, yeah. Just a fun tournament, and good to see him bouncing up there. FedEx Cup standings, I think he's in 4th place now with that big victory. So, and Scotty Scheffler was right there again. Didn't win the tournament, but just another top. He's had 12 top 10s this year, and 2. I mean, I wonder how many top 5s he's had, because he's won twice. Obviously, John Rahm's won 4 and had 8 top 10s, but Scheffler just week in, week out, always right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's some validity to what Keith said, and also my rebuttal that I don't think it's that serious is also kind of valid too. Because, like I told Keith, every other round we're saying the same thing. Like, there's a round where he's like, "I told you he's falling apart," and then there's a round where I'm like, "I told you he was fine." So he's just got to find some consistency in his game to get a win and not just place. Like, there's a different expectation for Scotty than, like, say, like a Finau or somebody. Like, you've won, you've been kind of steady on tour over the last year. Like, the expectation is that you would finish some of these tournaments a little bit better than what you're doing.
Well, speaking of that, you mentioned Rory earlier. I thought Rory, he made a nice up and down in the last hole, in the 18th hole in that 3rd round to tie for the lead, and then shoots 3 over par in the final round. And it seemed to kind of be his MO here recently, where he used to be kind of that final round, he wouldn't be in play, and then he'd shoot a good score in the final round to make it interesting. But just, what do you think? What do you think the rest of the season kind of holds in store for Rory?
I actually am more optimistic of him in this tournament going into the next couple big tournaments, just because what I saw was a little bit more focus, and I think the reason why he shot so bad on that final back nine, he was just overdoing it, pressing when he shouldn't have. He should just chilled out a little bit more.
You gotta have that zen.
Yeah, he didn't have the Victor Hovland zen. That's for sure.
Yeah, and if you look at the scores, at one point he was 6 under or close to it. If he stays the course and just stays steady and just takes what the course gives him, he might ended up at 7. I think he just took too many aggressive stances, which is funny because I fuss at him early on in tournaments for not being aggressive enough. But he just got to get it. He got to put it all together. A lot of these guys that we're seeing on the PGA Tour that are not winning when we expect them to win, they really just need to put their game together. Because Victor Hovland was in that same category for the last 3-4 weeks, and then he finally put it all together, and boom, he got a win. It's easier said than done. But I really think at the top, where we're talking about these top 10 golfers, top 20 golfers, the difference between the ones who win and the ones who just place is that the ones who are winning are just putting their game together.
Well, and Rory, arguably, when his game is all together, is very, very difficult to beat. Very difficult to beat. Kind of like a little bit. Brooks is a little bit like that too. Obviously, the Masters. I think that was still that crazy last day with having to play all that golf and the weather and the wind. But when he's on, he's kind of got that little bit of feeling like Tiger always had such an advantage of everybody because if he was right there, he wasn't going to fold in the final round. So it just the intimidation factor that he had against everybody else in the field was prominent, that's for sure.
You just have to have all those puzzle pieces put together.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's very astute, Bill.
They need more,
Big word for you,
more
Ryan.
coaching, man. They need somebody in their ear just tell them to breathe, man. Calm down. I can't imagine the pressure because, hell, I bet on it and I'm feeling pressure. Then they're actually playing it. So
yeah, they're actually living and breathing it and doing it. Yes.
But McCarthy, man, it's just an awful thing to be human and overcorrect on that drive after you see this guy put up a good drive. But I think sometimes even top athletes just need to take a step back, take a deep breath in. We make fun of Russell Wilson for his visualization techniques that he do as a quarterback in the NFL, but I think it works. I think LeBron has talked about that a little bit himself in his pregame when he walks up. I know Steph Curry does it. He walks up to one end of the court and he visualizes making the shot or visualizes these moments that might come up in the game. So when he does have that moment come up, he's more calm and collected. So I think some of the golfers need to start buying into that because it really does help.
Well, and you talk about visualization, and the mind is a very powerful thing. And I think that's when Jason Day was in his heyday. He'd literally close his eyes, part of his pre-shot routine, and really visualize where that ball wants to go. And so key. Tough thing for McCarthy. I mean, he bogeys 18, in the final round, which 18 was playing hardest all week as well. And you can't really. He almost hit it in that water over there, hit it in the deep rough, had to punch out, and then wasn't able to get up and down from about 100 yards, and ended up making his 5. And then you got to come back and play that exact same hole again. You got that creek running all down the right, so naturally, the mind kind of got in the way, and he blocked it a little bit. You just can't miss fairways at the Memorial, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's an awful time to shank a shot, and I mean, bless his heart, he almost saved it. The lip out was even more brutal. But the little I know about golf, it seems like the type of game that will punish you for making a mistake. So,
well, especially on golf courses that difficult. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, you see just a great example of, we talk about the ball and people want to make the ball for the top level golf not go as far. Well, just do what they do with the Memorial and some of these other difficult courses. Your final round, your total score was 7 under par, won the tournament. That's lower than what the PGA Championship was, I believe. I'm just thinking that off the top of my head. And then, you only had, looks like 15 guys under par finishing this tournament. Just make the rough longer. I mean, the tournaments are more entertaining and it brings in more crazy stuff that can happen. From a betting standpoint, this tournament was kind of crazy because you had so many people in these groups at one point at 5 under par and 4 under par. And our boy Sepp, he just collapsed on that last round. I was so bummed. I was excited about that one.
But he still made that top 20 somehow, man. I was sweating. And you know what I found out? I'm about to get superstitious because every time it's Sunday and I'm somewhere where I can't get a signal, my golfers just collapse. This past Sunday, I was at a musical, doing my husband duty, and look at me, sweating.
Yep. And
Trouble.
Gamble. Yeah. It's a big gamble going to those musicals, that's for sure, especially when you're a gambling fella. But what do you think? We got just a couple minutes before this next break. What are you thinking? We'll throw you a hockey question here tonight. Game 2 tonight, Knights and the Florida, not the Panthers as Bill calls them, the House Money Cats.
House Money Ice Cats.
House Money Ice Cats. That's right.
I love my Ice Money House Cats because, I said when you first asked me that first time I came on, I picked them to win. And unfortunately, the one game I watched during the playoffs was the Knights, and they were really good. So I'm scared.
Hey, Alan, how do you like this for a little parlay action? You want to go with the Heat and those House Money Wildcats to win the series? What do you think those odds are?
Ooh, man, it probably would have been even crazier.
Alan, it's plus 900 right now.
It's plus 900. And it probably would have been crazier.
Yeah, that's after the Heat went and stole that game. So, yeah, and then the Panthers would come in. We got a break coming up, Alan. Appreciate you giving us a shout. If you got any time later, we've got Doc A calling, but if you want to call back later on and talk some more, feel free to give us a shout.
Will do, man. Take care.
All right, thanks, Alan.
Bye, Alan.
You are listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Joined by Bill Hunt, our assistant golf professional out there at Bay Point Golf Club, wearing his sweet Bergeron Bees Alternative Original sweater?
This is the Winter Classic.
Winter Classic, and I'm excited the Devils are finally going to be in one. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We will be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. I'm comparing this LeBron to LeBron in his prime. Of course he looks average. Of course he looks old and at times mediocre. And of course he disappears at times. Stop comparing this LeBron to old LeBron and just compare him to the rest of mortals.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Welcome to the Inside Drive, the next big thing.
It's a big, huge, giant deal.
Sports betting, huge reactions, your calls and real-time coverage of the stories you're following. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Inside Drive. I was looking right at Randy. Smoke on the Water's playing. You got your shades and your bee sweater on. I mean, it pretty much just goes hand in hand right there.
Right. I'll tell you, we got some excellent re-entry music here.
That's
right. I was just saying off the air, I hope next time Alan calls in, we can get a little Kenny Rogers.
That's right.
The gambler.
That's him in a nutshell. That's for sure. And we always appreciate Alan calling in from up there in Virginia. He is part of the Two Off the Tee group with Keith Fleming, who is our regular Wednesday contributor on all our DFS golf content as well as golf. But here in a couple months, we'll be switching not only to just talking about golf, but also switching to college football and NFL football, which I know you're a big NFL guy as well. So maybe we'll talk a little NFL football today. We'll just see how this day goes.
Hey, why not?
It's just a mix-up Monday, and we're having a good time and
shooting from the hip, buddy.
All that good stuff. But I did want to touch we were talking a little bit about golf in this last segment with Alan, but something pretty incredible happened yesterday on the LPGA Tour. So I don't know if you've heard the name Rose Zhang before. But long story short, she was back-to-back NCAA Division I women's individual champion.
That's right.
And her last, I'm going to do some quick counting here real quick, but obviously Stanford didn't win the national championship as a team, but she won the individual for the first time in history back-to-back. But she won that. She won the regional tournament to get there as well. She won the Pac-12 championship. She finished 5th at the Silicon Valley Showcase. She won for the second year in a row the Augusta National Women's Amateur. I think that's the second year in a row. I could be wrong about that. She won the Augusta National Women's Amateur. She won the Julie Inkster Meadow Club Collegiate. She won the T-Session Regional Challenge. Now, these are all NCAA tournaments. And then she won the Pac-12 preview going all the way back to 2012. She won the Stanford Intercollegiate, really fell off and finished 12th in the Jackson T. Stevens Cup Stroke Play event, and then won the Carmel Cup, and then she also won the World Amateur Team Championship. I could keep going back. I mean, I don't know how many wins that was, but it was at least a dozen wins in all those particular starts. So she was by far the number one ranked amateur in the world. Well, she turned pro right after the NCAA National Championship, plays in her first LPGA Tour event, and guess what happens, Bill?
She won.
She won.
She was the first one to do it in like 70 years, from going from the collegiate level to pro and winning that one. You pick up little things at the golf shop, right?
Yeah, absolutely, especially if you're talking to John Fortner, because he is a huge Florida State college golf fan. He knows a lot about that kind of stuff. But yeah, Beverly Hansen, we all know Bev, 1951. She was the last lady to win her LPGA Tour debut, winning the America's Open. Ironically, also in this is now. She won in a playoff over Jennifer Kupcho. She's actually won 3 tournaments, and Rose Zhang goes toe-to-toe with her. Now, Rose had the lead. I want to say it was a 2-stroke lead going into the final round. Didn't have a great round, but hung on, got into the playoff, and on that playoff hole, she won the whole thing, which is just pretty incredible. She shot 2 over, but she had to make 16 pars in order to get that. But that's pretty unbelievable to me. You have somebody that plays in their first professional event and they win it. It just doesn't happen very often. I don't even on the guys' side. I don't know how many times that's happened either. But wanted to give Rose a huge shout out for winning the LPGA tournament tournament this past weekend.
I always think there's something you said. First time going out somewhere, you just don't know any better sometimes. Where golf is golf. You've been playing golf your whole life, but sometimes the magnitude of the situation doesn't really hit you until, a little time goes by.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we talk about it all the time on this show with college golf coaches and teachers and mental coaches and, all that playing and practicing and all that experience you get playing Division I golf clearly correlates directly to when you make it to the top level of any of the golf sports, whether it be ladies or men's. Even Tiger Woods gave her a huge shout out. Tiger Woods also played at Stanford as well, so he was very, very excited to win. I don't know if he ever finished his degree or not. He might have went back and got it. I mean, it obviously didn't
honorary.
Yeah, honorary. Yes, he probably got an honorary doctorate. But let's pivot. I know Paul didn't get to finish. Ooh, one more quick thing. We talked Friday, and Jay was like, wasn't sure why the Memorial Tournament didn't end on Memorial Day. It's a week later, and then
this actually sounds like a smart question by Jay.
Yeah, it was a smart question by Jay. So everybody was surprised, that's for sure. But Steve Wiley, who works outside for us at Bay Point Golf Co., who knows a lot about a lot. You always want to have Steve on your trivia team. But he had mentioned after the show last week that the Memorial is for people who have either still with us or passed on that have contributed contributed to the game of golf somehow, whatever it may be. So each year it's dedicated to different people, and this year it was dedicated to Tom Weisskopf and Julie Inkster for their contributions to the game of golf. So it's not a specific person or event or thing. It's kind of just like a general memorial tournament.
Good shout out there.
Yeah. So thanks, Steve, for filling us in on that one. I want to jump over to the baseball Division I regional championships. Just been some awesome baseball going on all weekend. If you're especially a college baseball fan, I mean, just baseball fan in general, it's one of the best weekends for baseball because you've got so much action going on and there's so many upsets to be had and all that. So, Bill, we're just going to ride right through these regionals here.
Let's do it.
The Wake Forest Regional up there in Winston-Salem. Wake Forest, the number 1 national seed. No surprise there. They won 3 games to advance out of their regional and moving on to the Super Regionals. They defeated George Mason 12-0 in the first game. Maryland, who had beat Northeastern 7-2 in their first game. Wake Forest beat Maryland 21-6, and then beat George Mason in the final game 15-1. So what's that? 12, 40, 31 plus 15, 46 points. 46 runs.
Just a few hits sprinkled throughout there. Yeah, I'm sure.
In 3 games in that regional, it's looking like Wake Forest is the powerhouse that everyone thinks that they are, and well-deserved number 1 national seed. Jumping over to the Gainesville Regional, which is actually going on as we speak. Florida was the number 2 national seed. Won their first game against Florida A&M. Texas Tech won their game against UConn, but then Florida actually lost to Texas Tech 5-4, sending them down to the elimination bracket where they beat UConn yesterday 8-2 to get into that final series. They beat Texas Tech 7-1, and now they're currently in the bottom of the 3rd in that winner-take-all last game to see who comes out of the Gainesville bracket. Number 2 national seed, I wouldn't say on the ropes, but if they take care of business today, looking pretty good. The Tuscaloosa Regional, which I think Jay would know where Tuscaloosa is, given he's the SEC football fan. Who knows?
Are we sure about that one?
We're not 100%.
Okay.
We'll find out. But Alabama took care of business. They won their first game against Nicholls State 4-3. Troy beat Boston College 11-10. Alabama played Troy in that second game in the winners bracket. Alabama won 11-8 on that one. Boston College came out of the losers bracket and beat Troy 4-1 yesterday afternoon, or yesterday kind of midday, and then moved on to the final game against Alabama, who hadn't lost a game yet, and Alabama took care of business 8-0 yesterday to move on to the regional. The only tough thing about Alabama is they've got to play Wake Forest in the Super Regional in Winston-Salem.
What a matchup. That is
going to be a tough task for sure. Alabama's the 16th national seed. They were the top 16 national seeds, or the hosts of the regionals. So a 1-16 matchup there as far as the Super Regional is concerned. And then switching over to the other side of the bracket, you had South Carolina in the Columbia Regional. The great state of South Carolina had 3 teams in the regionals: South Carolina, Clemson, and Coastal Carolina. We'll talk a little bit more about Coastal when we get to them. But South Carolina took care of business against Central Connecticut State up in your old neck of the woods.
Old stomping grounds.
Old stomping grounds, though. CC State, one of the big powerhouses out there, they lost 19-1 in that one, and then moved through the winners bracket. NC State beat the Campbell Camels, which me and David Hayes were talking about last week. Campbell went down to the elimination bracket, beat Central Connecticut State, then beat NC State, who lost to South Carolina 6-3, 11-1 in that game, and then South Carolina took care of business against the Campbell Camels, which were a little bit of a dark horse to make it to that College World Series, as they always have a good baseball program. But South Carolina won that regional 16-7, and they're going to go on to face the Florida Gators. So big-time SEC matchup there in Gainesville. Well, excuse me, Florida Gators. I'm jumping ahead of time. They have not beat Texas Tech yet. So they will face the winner of Texas Tech and Florida State, which is currently through 3. Florida is up 1-0. So if Florida ends up winning that game, they'll play the Gamecocks in Gainesville. If Texas Tech ends up winning, South Carolina will host that Super Regional.
Don't count those chickens before they hatch, buddy.
You can never do that. So any Florida fans out there like Chris Kramer, don't forget we're inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios.
What a plug.
Hopefully I didn't jinx him there because I know he'd be disappointed if the Gators did not move on. We'll bounce back across to the other side of the bracket. One of the several national seeds went down in the regionals, which isn't surprising because college baseball is a little different ball game. Even though you're the number one seed in that regional baseball, it's tough to win all those games in a row, especially all these teams are just as talented. Maybe not Wake Forest. Maybe Wake Forest is a little bit of an anomaly this year. We'll see how that all comes to fruition. But the U, Miami, the college ranks aren't having as good a success as the professional teams right now. But Miami took care of business in the first game to stay in the winners bracket. They beat Maine 9-1. That's how we feel about the U, that's for sure. A lot of U fans here in this neck of the woods.
I believe it, yeah.
And then Texas beat Louisiana 4-2. Louisiana's that one team that faced Washington in the softball that Jay had the water clarity thing about that didn't quite come to fruition.
I think I heard bits and pieces of that one. Might have been at the beach.
There you go. See, you can listen anywhere on ESPN Northwest Florida. Just download our free mobile app and you can take us anywhere. That is for as long as you got internet, of course.
That's true.
Allen.
Beach, pool, Allen putting a Wi-Fi tower out there on the property just so he could bet. That's true dedication to gambling. That's some commitment and also a little bit of MacGyver, I'm sure, in Allen there.
Yes. How do you get the Wi-Fi hotspot to work if you don't have cell phone service?
Rocky Mountain High.
That's right. Science. Science. So Texas beat Louisiana and then beat Miami in the winners bracket to stay in the winners bracket. Miami had to go down to the losers bracket. They ended up beating Louisiana 8-5. Moving on to that final game, Texas hadn't lost a game. Texas took care of business 10-6, ousting the number 9 seed. Texas moving on to that regional, super regional, not knowing who they're playing yet, as that has still yet to finish. And then bouncing over to our old stomping grounds, Bill, the Conway, South Carolina regional. A lot of people don't realize Coastal Carolina is not actually in Myrtle Beach, although it's right next to Myrtle Beach. Right outside. We spent a lot of time down there in the beach. But the Conway regional, I'm going to skip this one. We're going to jump back into this one when we hit the top of the hour because I'm going to talk about it just a little more for the 4 Coastal Carolina Chanticleer fans here in our listening area. But we'll jump over to the Stanford regional real quick before we got to hit our top of the hour break. That one is still going on. Stanford won their opening game 13-2 as the number 8 national seed. Cal State Fullerton lost to Texas A&M 12-7. Texas A&M then beat Stanford 8-5 in that winners bracket game, whereas Stanford had to go down and then play Cal State Fullerton, won by one run 6-5, and then they got back into that winners bracket side where Texas A&M had came back in as well and hadn't lost a game. So Stanford took care of business 13-5 yesterday, and they've got a game tonight 8 p.m. Eastern time where they're going to play Texas A&M for a winner take all. I know Ethan Boyd from Rudy's will be watching that one with a very, very close eye. When we get back, we'll jump right back and finish up all these regional action games, and maybe we'll have some more score updates. But you are listening inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick and GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You're listening to the Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdogs.
But yeah, Braves beating the Phillies last night 8-5. Austin Riley kind of breaking out of that slump along with Marcell Ozuna right now, that's kind of more impressive. And no one's giving Michael Harris, which dealing with injuries, but no one's giving Michael Harris half the flack of what Marcell Ozuna was dealing with, and he's brought that average all the way
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida. Here is your weather forecast on this Monday morning. As we head into this afternoon and evening, some sun and a high of 81 with a gentle breeze out of the south around 8 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clear skies and a low near 71. Tomorrow, mostly sunny most of the day aside from a likelihood of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening and a high around 82. This weather forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
At Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, you can find all the necessary items for an unforgettable fishing experience. From pin rods and reels to the best hand-tied rigs in Florida, we have it all. With the help of our friendly and knowledgeable staff, you can be sure that you have the right gear to make that big catch. Come experience a great local bait and tackle shop located directly off 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach, located just 5 miles west of Pier Park.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
If you spend any time at all in your yard, you're going to encounter fire ants.
We know they can ruin a party. That's why we're this area's experts at fire ant elimination.
As your certified top choice professional, we will rid your yard of these unwanted invaders. Brock Pest is so sure they'll get rid of fire ants that they offer a 1-year guarantee.
Enjoy your yard fire ant free. We guarantee it. Give us a call for your free consultation.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, our family protecting yours since 1968.
And now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
We're going to have a talk.
Tell me what you know. Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's a frantic noise.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. It is the top of the hour here in Panama City Beach, Panama City along the Florida Panhandle. And Randy's behind the glass today, so I'm not going to give him too much guff for not playing Afternoon Delight, but that's completely fine because it's kind of. I did text you, but we were getting Bill's microphone fixed and all that. As I always say, we're probably the only sports talk radio show in the country that comes in their second hour with Afternoon Delight, and you can respect that, Bill, as you're a big Afternoon Delight fan,
Huge fan.
The song and many other things, as we probably all are. But you are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You can listen live and local on 104.3 in Panama City Beach, 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast. You can always follow us streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just make sure you search ESPN Northwest Florida. Visit us on ESPNPC.com. Just click that Listen Live button. Scroll down, click that Tiger TV Pro. Find out all about the $15 a month best streaming TV service you can find out there on the market. As always, we are the home for the Atlanta Braves here in Northwest Florida. Diamondbacks, they took 2 out of 3 the Braves took from the Diamondbacks this past weekend, but the Atlanta Braves are sponsored locally by Best Way Portable Buildings, Dave & Buster's, PCB Hobby, and Gulf Coast Aquarium. We went to Dave & Buster's yesterday morning on Sunday. We did some stuff that we needed to do on Saturday for our lives and our house and whatever it may be.
Did you go to Lowe's, Home Depot?
Yeah.
At Bath Beyond if there was time?
Yeah, just make a weekend out of it. I don't know if there's going to be time. I'll do one. I'll do one. I'll do one. If only we had one of those in here, that'd make the show probably a little more lively and entertaining.
Ryan, there's always tomorrow.
There's always tomorrow. That's right. But anyway, Dave & Buster's, we went at 10. It opened at Sunday on 10, and Liam and everybody wanted to go, so we obliged, and I had 2 flag football games yesterday afternoon. And
Dose.
Yes, dose. So tomorrow I probably won't be able to move very well. But we went there at 10, and there was hardly anybody there because it was 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
Big brunch crowd at
Big brunch crowd at the old D&B, but I think it was half-price games or something like that because we were literally like the only ones there. So we were playing all sorts of games, and it kept saying the first couple games were part of some promotion. But anyway, then we sat down and had lunch in 11. And I got to tell you, I never know if you've never eaten at Dave & Buster's here.
I have never eaten
Dave & Buster's food here. Extremely underrated. Ooh. Fantastic. And David and the Afternoon Underdogs talk about it all the time because they're live from Dave & Buster's every 4 to 6 on Wednesdays.
Is he one of the co-owners?
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Franchise owner.
That's why he's not here today.
Yes, exactly. He's got a big Dave & Buster's.
Business at D&B today.
That's right. But anyway, had some wings, had some nachos. Liam had pizza. Ryan had chicken wings, and Beth had this really good chicken sandwich. I had some boneless wings, and the food was fantastic. So,
all right.
Amanda Muller and the whole crew out there at Dave & Buster's, y'all do a wonderful job. Not only is it entertaining and a lot of fun, but the food's fantastic as well.
Putting it on the radar.
You got to. The only thing is, time of day, traffic getting over there can be a little different in the summer, but
I'm sure.
No, it was a great time, and we hadn't been in a little while, and one of those things. I was sitting there where we were eating lunch. I mean, this place has just got to make a killing, especially during football. You're a family of 4 like we are, and if you want to have a couple beverages, you just pull up, get a table, watch sports on their huge TVs that they have, give your kids some game cards, let them run around, and then I'm sure they come back to the table like, I need more I need more tokens. The parents are like, I'll have another drink, you play more games.
What a day. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it gets any better than that.
Maybe it doesn't.
I don't know if it does. If it doesn't, then, we got to find some other places to go. That's for sure. But that's my big Dave & Buster's plug for the day, because we did go yesterday, and it was a great time. Food was good. Games were great.
Sunday, 10 a.m.
Sunday, that's the
window.
Key, yes. Besides Wednesday afternoons, when the afternoon underdogs are there from 4 to 6, because Wednesday afternoons is when they have their half-price cocktails and half-price games as well. But I think Sunday morning's like the same thing. I think it was half-price games till like noon or something like that. I could be speaking wrong, but
we'll figure it out.
Sunday morning at 10 a.m. is a great time to go to Dave & Buster's if you're looking to go there. All right, I'm going to get off my Dave & Buster's soapbox now and jump right back into these NCAA regionals. So let's talk about the Conway Regional. We're going to talk about this one a little more in depth, because I paid very, very close attention to these games, even though the one game was going on last night while I was out there playing flag football. We lost both games, by the way.
Dagger.
I hadn't played in 4 weeks, and I was definitely feeling that, but I feel like the other teams got a lot faster and better and all that.
Not enough time to warm up in your old age.
That's right. I didn't get to activate my rotator cuff.
Important.
Very, very important. I was throwing the ball okay. Some interceptions were pretty ridiculous that the other team had, but that's neither here nor there.
Yes, it was the other team, for sure.
It was definitely, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I mean, yeah, there's something to be said for athletic ability. But anyway, Coastal Carolina got off to a tough start. They're the number 10 national seed. They played Rider University, which is up there in New Jersey. The only reason I know about Rider is because it was fairly close to where I grew up, and a lot of friends from high school went to Rider, including a few people that went and played baseball. But that was many moons ago. They lost 10-11 in that game. Paul, who called in earlier, the other rabid Coastal Carolina fan in our market, we were texting back and forth, and Coastal got up to a 5-0 lead. Their pitcher, Liam, I forget his last name, I just remember Liam because he's got the same name as my kid, but he had a no-hitter through 6. I don't know what happened. They took him out of the game. They didn't pull him mid-inning or anything. He didn't come back in to start the 7th. Well, Rider goes on to score 9 runs in the top of the 7th. They go from having a no-hitter to Rider scoring 9 runs to go up 9-5, and Coastal goes in the bottom of 7th. They score 2 runs to get within 2, eventually end up tying it and going into Rider ended up scoring another one, and then Coastal ended up tying it 10-10. Rider goes up 11-10 in the top of the 10th, I believe it was. Coastal gets the bases loaded, 2 outs. Guy hits, I forget who hit it, hits a great shot out to center. Guy just makes a great diving catch. Sports Center top 10 ends the game. Rider wins the first one. Just brutal. I mean, and you were kind of disappointed because Coastal, they had a no-no going into the 7th. They take out the starting pitcher. Everything falls apart, but they still fought back and had a chance. One diving catch to win that, and who knows if that would have changed anything. So they end up losing that first game. They got to go into the elimination bracket. Duke took care of business as the number 2 seed in the regional against UNC Wilmington 12-3, so they stay in the winners bracket. Coastal has to play UNC Wilmington, beats them 12-2 to move forward in that elimination bracket. Rider ends up losing to Duke only 2-1, plays Duke really, really tough. So they move down to the elimination bracket. Coastal has to play them again, gets another complete game gets a complete game this time out of their other starter. That didn't happen again. They end up winning 13-5 yesterday. I want to say the game time was 11 o'clock our time. Got to see most of that one. Was watching a little bit at Dave & Buster's. So that they won that game 13-5. Got to play another game the same day against Duke, who's been really, really hot in the tournament. And Coastal ended up winning that one 8-6. Coastal hits a grand slam in the bottom of the first inning to go up 4-0, and then a few innings later, Duke ends up hitting a grand slam to tie the game 5-5. Yeah, just a dinger fest, that's for sure. And then I think it was the 8th inning. I should pull up the box score. I think it was the 8th inning. They got a guy on first. Next guy hits a triple. The bottom of the 7th. Get a guy on first. Next guy hits a triple, brings him home. Get another runner on first with, I think, a walk, and then Derek Bender hits a bomb over right field and goes up. We end up going up 8-5 Top of the 8th, one of the Duke players hits a solo home run, and then Coastal finishes off the game. So with all that being said, that winner-take-all game will be tonight. I know that was in-depth on Coastal Carolina, but, when you're Chanticleer alumni and you got a radio show, you can talk about Coastal as much as you want.
Perks of the gig.
That's right. So they play tonight at 5 p.m., winner-take-all. Duke's the home team, so they will be in the bottom of the lineup or bottom of the inning. So I always think the team at the bottom of the inning has a little bit of an advantage, but I know the Palace will be bumping tonight out there in Conway, South Carolina. Baseball, when we were there, we weren't, it wasn't really quite on the map yet. Gary Gilmore was still the coach. So it's funny when you hear Paul, who went to school there kind of in that mid to late 2010s, and we were there kind of in the middle of the 2000s. The mids. And the
aughts, as the kids say.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we were there for really when football got kicked off, and basketball was kind of a big deal as well.
Sure was.
And then we always went to the ladies volleyball games as well.
That was for
different reasons.
Correct.
Yes. They were great back then too. But
Coastal has an excellent sports program.
Yes. It's been in golf too, Dustin Johnson. But anyway, it's just...
Was he there?
Oh,
yeah. How about that?
Maybe we played a little pool with him. What was it? Jackass Saloon?
That might have been it.
Right down the road at 544.
Only was there every Thursday. So.
Yeah, only every Thursday.
Or both.
Or both. And it was always start at happy hour at 4 or something like that.
It's amazing how you work your college schedule out to accommodate said happy hours.
That's right. I mean, that's why you go to college. It's not about education.
That's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, maybe something to be said for that. I don't know. But anyway, so Paul and these younger guys that graduated from Coastal, they're full on baseball, and we are too. They won the national championship in 2016. But
do you remember where you were when they won?
Oh, absolutely. I was in my office at Bay Point, and I was streaming it, and I had a bunch of people in my office because that was just such a crazy one too. It reminds you a little bit about this year, kind of winning these magical games, and because they got delayed in the regionals, and they had to come back and finish the game. I want to say it was against NC State. Ended up winning that one. Going to the Super Regionals, getting that one done, going to the College World Series, and then finding that they lost. They made it to the championship series without losing a game, and they had to play Arizona in that championship final and lost the first one, and then I think won the second one, and then it was 4-3 after what's-his-face hit that home run over right field. Gosh, I'm drawing a huge blank on his name.
My details are a little fuzzy because I was bar hopping up in Portland, Maine.
So. Fair enough. So you remember where you were.
Exactly. How do you forget?
You can't.
Yeah.
It's like those moments that, those big time moments you always remember. It's kind of like, not to pivot to not a happy time, but everybody knows where they were when 9/11 went down. It's, you compare that to Coastal Carolina winning the College World Series.
That's the first time I think that's ever happened in the history of mankind that comparison got made there.
Hey, that's what we talk about here on the Inside Drive on ESPN Northwest Florida. Yes, absolutely. So good luck to our Chanticleers tonight at 5 p.m. I may have to blast the radio broadcast during the flag football practice that we have for Team Dynasty.
Perfect.
That is going on at the same time. I need to do a better job scheduling things around this. Well, I was actually hoping Coastal would have already advanced out of the regional at this point.
Correct.
That's why you play the game. So count my chickens again. Whoever wins the Duke Coastal Carolina game tonight will advance to play Virginia, who advanced out of the Charlottesville regional. They're the number 7 national seed. So even if Coastal does beat Duke tonight, it'll be hosted up there in Charlottesville, as Virginia is the number 7 seed and Coastal is the number 10. They cruised through their regional, beating Army 15-1 the first game. Army went down in the elimination bracket, and then they ended up beating ECU, the Pirates up there.
I remember the Pirates.
Everybody remembers the East. That wasn't too far away from us, 2.5 hours?
Yeah, I might have gone up there for a few house parties up that way. That's right.
I think you went up there for a Halloween one time.
Might have been Mr. Moneybags from Monopoly there. Is that his name, Mr. Moneybags? It is now.
It is now. If it wasn't, it is.
Yeah.
Trademarked.
Done.
ECU, I think they're number 1 on the list of Halloween party schools or places to go for Halloween.
Back in our day, it definitely was.
Bucket list. I was at Clemson one time for a Halloween party, but
that must have been good.
We went for a Coastal Carolina game. A couple of us, I think Ben. You remember Ben?
Oh, I remember Ben.
Yeah, he went there too, and obviously they didn't win, but it was Halloween night. It was a good time afterwards. That's for sure. But yeah, Virginia cruised right on through. They beat East Carolina. The East Carolina went down to the elimination bracket, beat the Oklahoma Sooners. Had to play Virginia again. Would have had to beat them twice, but Virginia took care of business yesterday evening, 8-3, again to advance on to the Super Regionals. They will play the winner of Coastal Carolina and Duke tonight over there in, I want to say, Palo Alto. Stanford, right? Palo Alto? Is that right?
Yeah, you're right in that neighborhood. You're good.
Yeah, you're going to say yes regardless, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
That's what Jay does.
Oh, I know what Jay does.
Jay does a lot of crazy things. I hope
Jay and geography. I think that's oil and water right
Coming
there.
up next week, geography test for Jay. If he passes, everybody gets a free round of golf, or not free round of golf.
Wow.
A free lesson with Jay, because I don't think he'll pass.
Odds are not in his favor.
Better chance Heat winning the NBA championship or Jay passing the geography test that we put out tonight?
How much money can I throw in your face right now for the Heat?
For the Heat, there you go. There is your answer. So we're going to call it, they called it the Stanford Regional, but I'm pretty sure Stanford's out there in Palo Alto. They beat San Jose State, I think they're the Trojans, 13-2 in that first game. Texas A&M beat Cal State Fullerton. Texas A&M then beat Stanford, sending them to, did I already talk about this one? I think I already talked about this one. That's all right.
Just keep rolling.
We're running it back again because we love Rudy's and we got to support Ethan at Texas A&M. But so Texas A&M ended up beating Stanford. Stanford goes down to the elimination bracket. Texas A&M won 2 games, so they had to be beat twice by Stanford. Stanford beat them yesterday, 13-5. I did say this already. That's my bad out there if you're listening. But everybody loves the Aggies. You know, Texas A&M gotta root for the Aggies. But they got to play Stanford tonight, winner take all game. Again, that's 8 p.m. our time. If they win on that one, they will be advancing to play Texas, which whoever wins that, I'm not sure where Texas A&M is ranked, so I don't know where that super regional may be, but could be a Longhorn Aggies matchup if Texas A&M can get it done tonight. Texas A&M had a great run in the SEC tournament as well, making it all the way to that championship game, I believe. Now over in our friends over there in Baton Rouge in Louisiana.
The Rouge,
LSU still going on. That one has not been decided yet. You had LSU, Tulane, Sam Houston State, and Oregon State. LSU took care of the Green Wave. Tulane was 19-40 going into this tournament. They won their tournament championship. That's how they ended up getting into this thing. So
that's how it rolls sometimes. You get hot.
Not expected to beat LSU in that first game. They did not. Sam Houston State lost to Oregon State 18-2, but then Sam Houston State got it done against Tulane, moving them into the elimination bracket. Then LSU played Oregon State. This was a great close game. LSU ended up winning 6-5, sending Oregon State back down to the elimination bracket, taking care of business against Sam Houston State 3-1. So they play, I think they got delayed yesterday afternoon. I want to say they didn't end up having to play due to weather. So LSU plays Oregon State at 1 p.m. right at the end of our show here on the Inside Drive. They'll play LSU. If LSU wins that game, they advance on to the Super Regionals. If Oregon State wins that game, they play one more game tonight at 5. That's tough going back to back. That's why you got to have a deep pitching staff when it comes to college baseball. You end up using a lot of folk.
A lot of arms.
A lot of arms, that's for sure. I want to talk about the College World Series here in a little bit as well. The show's just flying by today. I think it's your sunglasses.
It's got to be. It's so bright.
It's the sunglasses, the Bees jersey, sweater, and the mustache.
Good catch.
It's kind of a deadly combination, that's for sure. All right, we're going to go over to the Ducks. Quack quack. These two next ones were very surprising. You had the Nashville Regional, which was Vanderbilt, the number 6 national seed. They took care of Jimmy G's Eastern Illinois. Panthers, maybe something like that.
What were they?
I don't know. It looks like some kind of kitty cat. Not the House Money,
not
Ice Cats. No, not them.
Let's not even tie Jimmy G to my House Money Cats, because
I don't even know if Jimmy G is going to play football this year.
I'm waiting for Tom Brady to say week 3, say, Jimmy, why don't you go ride the pine there, champ?
That prediction was already made on this show last week. Jimmy G's not going to pass his physical. Tom Brady's part owner of the Raiders now. He's going to come back out of retirement as a part owner / player and not lead the Raiders to the AFC
That wasn't Marty B from Boston calling in on that one.
It might have been. I think Marty B did call that.
Okay.
We'll have to wait to hear back from Marty B from Boston to see.
Yeah. He sounded like he knew what he was talking about.
He does. He's an expert in all things Boston sports. That's for sure. Hence, Marty B.
That's it.
Not Marty B, just Marty from Boston.
Well, it might be Marty B these days. I don't know if Marty actually gave his last name when he called
No, he
it.
didn't. We have some other callers that have B last names.
I think there was a Ronnie B not long ago.
But he's from a different coast, I think.
I think that's correct.
Yes.
Sounds like he found a lot of water out there at Bay Point.
Yeah. Probably. Vanderbilt beats Eastern Illinois 12-2. Oregon takes care of Xavier 5-4. But this is where it gets interesting. So Oregon then has to play Vanderbilt in the winners bracket. Oregon wins 8-7. Again, Vandy's the number 6 national seed. At one point, they were, I think, ranked number 1 in the country. Xavier beats Eastern Illinois 7-0. Eastern Illinois is out. Then Xavier has to play Vanderbilt in the losers bracket elimination game. Xavier wins that one 2-1 over the old Commodores from up there in Nashville.
Nail biter, 2-1.
Yeah, knocking them out. Yeah, it was a great pitching at the end. I actually caught the end of that game. Great pitching at the end of that one. And then so Oregon, beat Vandy. They hadn't lost a game yet. They beat Xavier. They beat Vandy, and then they had to play Xavier again yesterday evening, and they won that one 11-2. So Oregon advances out of the Nashville regional. A little bit of a surprising one there because Oregon was they were the number 2 seed in that one. Vanderbilt that's definitely a little surprising. Another national seed knocked out of the NCAA regionals, followed up by another one knocked out of the NCAA regionals. This is probably the craziest one yet to happen. You had Oklahoma State, the number 11 national seed, Oral Roberts University, Washington, and then Dallas Baptist. And I know David and I have been talking about Dallas Baptist last week. Great baseball program, kind of a dark horse. And they made a run at it, that's for sure. Oklahoma State gets knocked off in the first game, kind of like Coastal losing that first game. They lost to Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts stays in that winner's bracket. Washington ends up beating Dallas Baptist 9-5, a little surprising in that one. So they go down to the elimination bracket. Dallas Baptist beats Oklahoma State 18-4, sending home the number 11 national seed in just 2 games.
See ya.
Lost both games there. So Dallas Baptist then has to play Washington because Oral Roberts beat them 15-12. Big ball game there. Not a lot of pitching action going on in that one.
Brian, if you had to pick, if you're watching a game, do you want to see the hits and the ball flying all over the place, or do you want to see a good pitcher's duel?
That is a great question. I guess I'm going to caveat that and say I guess it depends on who's playing. If I have no skin in the game, and if I don't have a bet on that game, I'm going to say hits. Let's see lots of action, lots of good stuff, and that's what's cool about college baseball. Now, if I got skin in the game or it's my team, I'd rather see much more of a pitching duel.
Fair enough.
What about you?
Chicks dig the long ball, man.
That is true. That is true. Glory lasts. What's the Shane Falco quote from The Replacements?
Oh man,
I'm kind of putting you on the spot.
That
but when
came out when we were in college.
Yeah, I know. That's an old one. It's still a classic though. I've seen it many a time. But chicks dig pain heals. Chicks dig cigars, and glory lasts forever.
Cigars or scars?
Scars.
There it is.
Both.
Yeah.
Yes. Chicks dig scars. Glory or scars, or what is it? Pain heals, glory lasts forever, something like that. I'm gonna Google that when we get back because we got a break coming up.
The Google machine will help us out on that.
Yes, Oral Roberts ended up winning the Oklahoma State Stillwater Regional. They beat Dallas Baptist 6-5. Who would have thought Oral Roberts would go 3-0 and come out of the Stillwater Regional?
Allen
would have. So you got Oral Roberts playing Oregon in a super regional. That right there is why college baseball is so awesome. When we get back, we'll finish up with 4 more regional sites, and then we'll also have that Shane Falco quote for you. We are sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios, joined by Bill Hunt, our assistant golf professional out there at Bay Point Golf Club. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the sports talk monster on the Gulf Coast. Let's go! Destin, Panama City, and Mexico Beach. Listen on 104.3. In the Mariana, Chipley, and Bonifay area, hear us on 102.1.
Swing, line drive, left center field,
and now, Fort St. Joe, Apalachicola, and Weewa. It's 101.9. We have Northwest Florida covered. It's ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Monday's weather. The rest of the day there will be a gentle breeze out of the south, some sun at 81. Mostly clear skies tonight, about the same at 71. Tomorrow, mostly sunny most of the day aside from a likelihood of thunderstorms in the afternoon and a high of 82. About the same at 81 Wednesday, and we'll have mostly sunshine. This forecast is brought to you by Ellis Agency Insurance. Thank you for keeping that dial on ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Suffer from political talk radio fatigue? Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight.
Hey, better late than never. I didn't really give Randy a heads up, so that's more on me than Randy for sure. But
hey, buddy, it's still the afternoon.
It's still the afternoon. It's not like it's gone back to the morning yet, but always brought in at the top of the hour, usually by afternoon delight. But we're excited to bring ourselves back in with that. We will have Steve Alexander on the line here momentarily. He was a writer with Roto World and NBC Sports for over 20 years, and now an ESPN NBA contributor. And I can't wait to hear his thoughts on the game last night, because we've talked to him twice last week, and really been talking about how Miami even has a chance in this series. Well, now that Miami's even the series and stole one in Denver, we said we had to steal one. So we're excited about to have him back on the line here in just a second. But we'll pick up real quick. We're jumping through those regionals. Another national seed, Beth's Auburn Tigers ended up losing as well. That one's not over yet. Southern Miss is going to play University of Pennsylvania today, the Ivy League.
Ooh.
Yep. Hey, Steve, are you out there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks again for joining us. I know you've been. Are you on your way back from those Georgia beaches?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. We lucked out here because we stopped and had lunch at Jekyll Island.
Oh yeah.
Right on the ocean, and then we came over to St. Simon's. And I dropped my wife and kid off at the pier and parked the car about 30 seconds ago. It would have been really interesting to hear me trying to talk about basketball while also fighting with my wife about where I was parking and yelling at them to get out of the car. So
that doesn't happen. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just multitasking right there.
It's too bad we missed that.
Yes, that would have made for some good radio, that's for sure. So let's jump right into it. I mean, we talked about it. We talked with you twice last week, and again, I appreciate you joining us again kind of after each one of these NBA final games. How about the Miami Heat? We said they had to steal one at some point, and they've done it a lot earlier than I think most people thought they would.
Well, thanks for having me back. I nailed the first game. I was completely wrong about the second one.
You and everybody else.
When we talked on Friday, I said, I'm pretty confident in the Denver Nuggets right now, but I also would not be surprised if we talk on Monday and we're talking about the Heat having tied it up at 1-1. And, Eric Spoelstra's a good coach. He made adjustments. Jokic had a big game, but he only had 4 assists, and the rest of his teammates did not have big games. And the guy that's really disappointed me the most so far, the guy that's probably going to cost me a lot of money over the next 5 games is Michael Porter Jr., because I keep feeling, I feel like I'm going to keep betting on that guy until he blows up. And he's sort of been that way with me throughout his entire career. I've always been a Michael Porter Jr. guy in fantasy, and he always tends to get hurt or something happens. But he was playing really well coming into this series. And he actually played well in game 1. He just didn't hit the exact numbers he had to. But I'm expecting bigger things from MPJ. And I'm expecting Michael Malone to make adjustments just like Spo did after game 1. And, the Nuggets are at Miami in game 3, but they're still favored by 2.5 last time I looked.
2.5, though, is a big difference from the 8. I think it was 9 or 8.5 in those first two. We talked about it last week, and Malone professional athletes need to be, coached up or whatever the phrase may be by saying, hey, we can't sleep on these guys. I don't think this is going to be easy to take care of business. And he kept kind of keeping that mantra going from before game 1, and then kept that same mantra going into game 2 because he was a little disappointed on how the team played in that fourth quarter in game 1. Well, he was repeating all that stuff, and we kind of said, well, he was right, because they came out, especially in that fourth quarter. I think Miami scored 36 points, and they definitely looked like they came out a little flat. So a little bit of validity to what he was saying. So what do you think about Malone and what he needs to do to get his team, you wouldn't think needs to get his team up for this huge game 3 in Miami?
Yeah, and that's what he said. We haven't done anything yet. We haven't accomplished a single thing. I wish people would stop acting like this is over. The Heat are good. So I mean, he was exactly right. And like we talked about on Monday, the Nuggets really can't take anything for granted, because nobody saw the Bucks getting swept by these Heat, and nobody saw the Celtics getting beat by the Heat, and now they've got home court advantage against the Nuggets. So. And you're right. I feel like game 2, or I feel like this game 3, I feel like the winner of game 3 is going to probably go on to win this series. So that makes it a must-win for my Nuggets if they're going to get this done. As far as what motivating Malone has to do for the Nuggets, I mean, I think it's more game planning than it is coaching and motivation. How are we going to limit Jimmy Butler to what he does? How are we going to stop Bam Adebayo from having a good night against Jokic? How are we going to get MPJ more involved in the offense? Why is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who's our best shooter, only shooting, a few shots a game and only hitting 1 3? Those are all questions that need to be answered. And Jamal Murray needs to play defense against the point guard, Vincent. What's his name? It just slipped my mind.
I got nothing for you.
The backup point guard, Gabe Vincent, yeah.
Yep.
So somebody needs to slow that guy down, because Kyle Lowry's older than me. He's 52 years old, and they have no problem stopping Lowry. But Vincent's a different story. He's had pretty good games all the way throughout these playoffs.
All right, so. Is Tyler Hero still on tap to come back in this game? I know they were talking about game 3 at some point. I was trying to find some information on that. Is he coming back for game 3?
I think he's probably questionable. I haven't checked it lately. The place I would go to is rotowire.com and see what their player news blurb says for Tyler Hero, because I write some of those. But yeah, I don't know yet. Of course, I've also been driving all day. My understanding was he was going to be likely to play in game 3, and I know he got ruled out for game 2 pretty early. But and like we talked about the very first time, I think we got together and talked. Will Tyler Hero help the Heat, or will he disrupt what they have going on? And after game 1, I think it was, well, he can't hurt them. He can only help them. And after game 2, maybe it's more of I don't know. But Max Strus has scored 14 points in game 2 for the Heat. The other guy, the other shooting guard they've got, scored 10 in a very quick succession. I think most of them came in the fourth quarter, and they just got some good performances all the way across the board from everybody they needed. They needed to play well. So I feel like the Heat kind of had the perfect fourth quarter, and Denver kind of controlled that game until the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and you saw that. And You know, we were talking about Jokic, who scored 41 points but only had 4 assists. We were talking about it way earlier on the show about in regular season, out of 82 games, the Nuggets were 3-7 when he had 6 or less assists. So 7 losses coming when he has less than those 6 assists. And, you know, you think that's going to kind of continue to be the Heat's game plan as far as Jokic? Just, you know, let him take shots, let him, you know, don't let him control the game as much. And, you know, you think that's kind of where they look to go. It also looks like Hero is rumored to be returned, but also reported that yesterday morning he still had some soreness and swelling in his right hand and could feel it when he was making his follow-through shooting motion. So still up in the air whether he's going to play tonight or not.
That doesn't sound great.
Well, you guys pulling that stat of the Nuggets record when Jokic has 6 or fewer assists. That's pretty cool, and that's very telling, and it feeds right into the theme of Game 2, right? The 4 assists from Jokic means he didn't get help from his teammates because they weren't making shots, and Michael Porter Jr., his shooting has been pretty terrible. So, yeah, I think that does fit into the game plan. And something else I noticed last night was Jokic, he had a couple turnovers and a couple bad passes, and that's one of the things that I've been screaming about on the show is, like, Jokic doesn't make mistakes, and he's such a brilliant passer. If he's going to make mistakes and make bad passes when he gets doubled, then that changes everything, because the whole key to the Nuggets' success is Jokic getting double-teamed and hitting the open man in the corner.
And you had mentioned, too, on our last show, we're joined by Steve Alexander, Doc A, 22 years plus writing with Roto-World and NBC Sports, now contributor ESPN, NBA expert. You were talking the Game 1 was a record for the fewest free throw attempts by one team in NBA Finals history, with only 2 free throw attempts. Yesterday, the Heat had 20 free throw attempts, I believe, and I think that's a testament a little bit to, Jimmy Butler was trying to get inside a little more, and I know he was working the day before at University of Colorado's gym, working on making those short shots and all that stuff. So you think Jimmy Butler's got to kind of maintain that strategy about getting in there a little bit, getting fouled a little more, slowing the game down, getting some free throw attempts?
Well, and I think that's the way the Heat control the game, is they got to be aggressive, and they got to be trying to get to the line. They've got to be driving inside. They got to be trying to get Jokic in foul trouble. Like, they just have to be aggressive on offense. They can't afford to just let Strus and Hero and whoever else shoot three-pointers. Their whole game is, they have an inside-outside game. They need Jimmy Butler, and they need Caleb Martin, and they need Bam Adebayo to be really aggressive inside.
Steve, I think that's a great point, because in Game 1, that was the new NBA history mark where they only got to the line, three times? Yeah. So record low. And Steve, I don't know about you, but Jimmy Butler looks like a man on a mission, so I'm not betting against him.
It depends on what day it is, man. I mean, there's days where we're all writing, playoff Jimmy is different. Playoff Jimmy is here to dominate and destroy you. And then there's other games in these playoffs where it's like, what happened to playoff Jimmy? He had 7 points and wasn't aggressive at all. So I feel like he's kind of been on a roller coaster. And Game 2, he was going downhill at high rates of speed, and it'll be interesting to see how the Heat come out and play at home in Game 3, because if the Heat come out and blow Denver out or open up a big lead early and get that crowd going, they can control the rest of that game, and then that's going to put a ton of pressure on Malone and the Nuggets to win Game 4. So Game 3 is a big one. It's pivotal, really, really important.
And I'm sure there's a stat out there that says when the series is tied 1-1, whoever wins Game 3, I'm going to guess probably goes on to win more than 75% of the time. That's just
I was going to say 65 to 70 would be my guess. But yeah, it's a big one. It seems like Games 3 and 5 are always the two pivotal games. So I'm looking forward to seeing it now. At our little Airbnb in St. Mary's, Georgia, we did not have access to the telecast last night, so I was watching the entire Game 2 on my telephone, which there's nothing pleasant about that.
No. I've watched many a game on my phone, both football and like I was watching Coastal Carolina's couple baseball or yesterday midday baseball game on my phone, and it's like I don't have good eyesight to begin with, but that's the world we live in now. We can watch stuff on our phones, and it's hard to watch and not good enough.
Well, and it's all about perspective too, because if I'm sitting on the beach with my feet in the ocean and I've got my phone out and I'm watching the Masters, it's like, this is the most incredible technology. This is the most incredible experience of my life. I'm watching the Masters in HD sitting on the beach. But if you're sitting in your living room and you're trying to watch an NBA game on your phone, not as cool.
Yeah, where there's you can leave a review for the Airbnb.
It's a good one. I don't know. I watched a Super Bowl in Hawaii on my phone, and that was pretty good. That was your Niners not getting it done. Sorry, buddy.
It's okay. At least we were there.
There you go.
At least we were there. But yeah.
And it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, over in the Eastern Conference time zone there. But so Game 3 coming up, 2 days. Again, I always talk about the rest in between these games. I think this is I don't have the schedule up in front of me, but I think this is the last 2-day off break in between the two games. I think the ones between 4 and 5 is just one. I could be wrong about that, but obviously that after tonight, depending on if Hero comes back and how it ends up looking, do you think, again, who benefits more from these big breaks in between games? I know that's a very repeating question, but curious to get your thoughts again.
And it's the same answer. It impacts the Heat more than it does the Nuggets, because the Heat are way less rested than the Nuggets. Jimmy Butler at times appears to have a dinged up ankle. Tyler Hero is trying to come back. He needs time. He's still dealing with soreness, like you said. They're all tired. They've been through a grueling 7-game series with the Celtics, and then turn around and have to play Jokic, right off the bat. So, I mean, any additional time off helps the Heat every time, I think. And we were worried about, or not worried, but we were asking the question, with the Nuggets getting 10 days off, are they going to look rusty? And they didn't look rusty at all in Game 1, and they really didn't look rusty in Game 2 until the fourth quarter. So I think it's all about the Miami Heat getting as much rest as they can.
Yep, next game coming up Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 7:30 our time. If Jimmy Butler ends up, they lost Game 7 last year against the Celtics, if I'm remembering correctly. I got a big Boston guy in here with me now. He's our assistant pro out at the golf club, Mr. Bill. If Jimmy Butler ends up winning this playoff series and wins the NBA championship and kind of this improbable run that they've been on, does he kind of cement his mystique as playoff Jimmy? Do you think, if they can get this one done?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, this is, for both of these teams, it's history for both of them, right? At number 8 seed is number 1. Denver's number 1. Jimmy needs this championship for his legacy, and Jokic could use it for his too. So, and I don't think, I think we're kidding ourselves if we think anyone other than Jimmy or Jokic is going to win MVP. I mean, whoever wins the series, that's your MVP from that team. And yeah, I mean, it would mean the world to Jimmy Butler's career. Really, it would make people think of him differently than they do right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Hey, Steve, appreciate your time again. Hopefully we'll maybe have you back on Thursday to recap this pivotal Game 3 that's coming up Wednesday night with the Heat and the Nuggets tied 1-1. Again, appreciate your time.
Maybe I'll road trip down to PCB for that one.
Hey, open invitation at any time. We'd love to have you in studio, and then you could go on our crystal clear waters and white sandy beaches right afterwards as well. Thank you, Steve, very much for your time, and we'll talk soon, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Bye, Steve.
All right, you are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Our last segment's coming up, Bill. We may do something fun in this last one. I'm thinking.
No, not fun.
No, it's the newest and most fun show on Sports Talk here in the country.
What a tagline.
What a tagline. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Your attention, please. ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. when there's a double red flag. Stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike 3.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
Game days are always better at Dave & Buster's. That's because more TV inches, more food and drinks, more space, and more fun make the game we all know and love more special. Nothing beats seeing your favorite team take the field on the two 12-foot big screens or 26 75-inch TVs. Throw in the arcade experience and you've got a winning atmosphere that no other sports bar can deliver. Follow the fun at Dave & Buster's Panama City Beach on Facebook and Instagram. Eat, drink, play, and watch sports at Dave & Buster's.
Mid-South Lumber, where they treat you like family. Locally owned and serving the residents of Bay County for over 45 years. See Mid-South Lumber for all of your DIY projects, including windows, doors, siding, lumber, and millwork. Are you building a new home? Bring your contractor in to Mid-South Lumber and meet with a member of their sales team to discuss your framing, siding, windows, and doors. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City.
Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's alive! Look alive! We're alive!
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Bill, awesome having you in studio today. It's been a quick but a lot of fun show.
Buddy, I can't believe 2 hours are almost up.
It's so fast. That's crazy. Everyone's like, how do you talk for sports for 2 hours? We get on these tangents and you just talk about fun stuff and fun. That's what it's all about. And we no Jay Henley this week, so nothing, no crazy Jay-isms. I'm going to have to come up with my Jay Henley tip of the week tomorrow because we are running out of time on today's show. Just real quick before I'm going to throw it to you for some fun stuff. Today is known as the longest day in golf. Every Monday leading up to the U.S. Open, which is always the week prior, is where you have all the 36-hole sectional qualifiers going on all over the place. So not only do you have to go from your regional qualifier, which is just 18 holes, once you go to the section qualifier, you got to play 36 holes in one day. And we mentioned earlier that Victor Hovland, who won the Memorial yesterday, is caddying for one of his friends in one of these U.S. Open qualifiers. But some pretty crazy names that still have to make the sectional qualifying. Some notes: Michael Block is trying to qualify. We all know Michael Block and what he did in the PGA Championship. He's trying to qualify. You've got Preston Summerhays. He was the U.S. Junior Amateur winner, and he was a All-American at is an All-American at Arizona State. Brendan Steele, three-time PGA Tour winner. He's trying to qualify. Cameron Kuchar, who is the 15-year-old son of obviously tour professional Matt Kuchar. He shot some ridiculously low score in a I want to say he shot 62 or 64 in a qualifier. Wow. So as a 15-year-old, he's trying to make it. Carlos Ortiz, who's now on the LIV Tour, but has won on the PGA Tour before, he's trying to qualify. Everybody knows who Bill Haas is. He won the 2001 FedEx Cup champion, 6-time PGA Tour winner. He's trying to qualify, as is Mark Leishman, Sebastian Munoz, Raymond Floyd Jr. He's the 48-year-old son of Raymond Floyd. Raymond Floyd must be getting up there now. You got some other players, some baseball players trying to make it. Doc Redman, Cameron Champ, Stuart Sink, Luke Donald, Lucas Glover, and Jeff Ogilvy, who are both U.S. Open champions. Your exemption doesn't last forever when you win a U.S. Open. I think it just lasts for 5 or 10 years. So a lot of PGA Tour pros, a lot of top amateur golfers, a couple different professional athletes trying to climb the mountain of this longest day in golf, where you've got to play 36 holes of golf, and you're only playing for a couple spots. This one, 89 players for 5 spots. I know the one up in New Jersey, Canoe Brook, played that golf course many times. You got 67 players competing for 4 spots. So it's just a big challenge. But I want to throw it over your way, Bill. You kind of had a fun, cool topic we'll finish the show out with. Again, if you want to give us a call real quick, we got about 10 minutes left. That's 850-215-6290. What do you got, Bill?
So, once again, thanks for the invite on the show.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no, it's been a good time, and got me thinking, since I've been listening to you and Jay, and I think I know who the brains of the operation is behind the show.
Definitely Jay.
But, for a good sports talk question, I was thinking about it because if I'm back here tomorrow, I might have another sweater on, and I don't know if you'd call it a heel turn, traitor, I don't know. Because again, being down in Florida, hint, hint, might have found a new little sweater that looks nice.
They got some sweet ones, that's for sure. I was reading an article too about we can discuss it more tomorrow. Just talking about the Knights and the Florida and like who has each advantage. And when they talked about the jerseys or the sweaters as we call them, they definitely gave the advantage to Florida. But both awesome sweaters.
They are both great.
But the one, I think I know what you're talking about. We won't spoil anything because we definitely want to have you back in tomorrow. I just didn't want to disrupt your day off from work at Bay Point. But yeah, we'd love to have you back in studio tomorrow. So what do you got for the biggest, we'll call it the rivalry traders in sports history?
That's my question, is for the audience out there and for you, Ryan, is who in your lifetime, or who do you think is the biggest sports trader, somebody who's infamous from being beloved in their city and their team and deciding to go play for the enemy?
I'm going to throw one right at you, right off the get-go, because it ties into your New England sportsdom. I'm going to throw out Adam Vinatieri.
Oh, that is a good one.
You know, obviously he kicked some of the biggest kicks in Super Bowl history. You could probably say, without Adam Vinatieri, I don't know if Tom Brady has as many Super Bowls as he did.
Definitely not. No.
Especially the one game against I believe it was the Oakland Raiders at the time in the snow game.
Oh, yeah.
Where the tuck rule was done.
What's that? I don't know that rule.
Hey, side note, have you ever seen the I don't know if it's a 30 for 30 or an E60, whatever it may be, with Brady and what's his face that was on the other team, where he talks about the tuck. I'm drawing a huge.
Was it Gruden?
No. Player.
Gannon.
No, defensive player.
Oh.
I want to say he's a corner. He's the one that came in and made the hit.
Yeah, I know.
We'll
get it. Either way,
yeah,
so good for radio to have answers to questions.
We just talk about it. We don't have to know about it. That's the thing.
That's why the Google machine exists.
Yes. So yeah, Adam Vinatieri. He played for the Patriots for a long time, and then who does he go to after playing with the Patriots? He goes to the Colts of all teams. The Peyton and Brady rivalry. I mean, you probably hate the Colts more than most if you're a New England fan. So that's one I'm going to throw out right away.
That's a good one. I did not have that jump to mind first, but excellent point by you.
Who do you got?
Johnny Damon.
That's another good one. Yes.
A man that could have lived in Boston as a king for his entire life, and he decides to go chop the hair off and go play for the Yankees.
That's like sacrilegious.
And it's funny because as far as rivalries go, like that's the one real nice thing about being back down in the South, is for the fact that it's, very heavy on the college sports. Those rivalries, they last forever, versus kind of when you get to professional sports, people age out and your players leave, and time goes on, and the Red Sox Yankees, it's not even a thing anymore, really.
It's weird how, in the 2000s, Red Sox, I mean, it's always been Red Sox Yankees forever, but it's definitely kind of dropped off a little bit as far as that big time rivalry. Why do you think that is?
I think people just got tired of baseball for it being 4-hour games, and then the Red Sox were, it's funny, they won the number of championships. They're up to 4 now since the 03 season, that magical run, but they've kind of bottomed out and cellared for years too, versus the Yankees, same thing. They haven't been what they used to be.
Yeah, and it's just that rival. That's an interesting point. I didn't really think about that until you said something, but That's kind of another conversation we could have about rivalries in sports that just don't quite have the mustard or whatever you want to say that they used to have.
The old punch.
Charles Woodson. He's the one. Yes.
Bingo.
Yes. Got the Google machine. Obviously,
Perfect.
he was a cornerback for the Raiders at the time. They both played for Michigan, which what made it. But if you haven't seen it, especially being the New England guy you are,
I'll put it on the docket.
I would definitely watch that, because even at one point Brady kind of slips up and says something like to kind of help Charles's point, but still crazy. They have the refs and it's just a great one, talking about the tuck rule, which I know you said doesn't exist.
Again, I don't know what that means.
Johnny Damon, that is a good one. That is for sure.
But I feel like it's a good just question, because if you're a sports fan in your life, you've had some player leave and you go, what?
Yeah. I mean, I'll throw one out there for my own, Jerry Rice. A lot of people don't even think about Jerry Rice. He went to the dang Seahawks.
I know.
Places. Obviously didn't, it was at the tail end of his career, kind of like when Montana left to go to Kansas City. But he kind of left, but Steve Young kind of pushed that one out too.
Right.
So that's a little bit different story. But yeah, Jerry Rice was one for sure. What about the Colorado Buffaloes head coach, Mr. Deion Sanders? He kind of bounced around a lot though, but
come on, Deion was Deion.
True, he just did whatever he wanted. But to go from the Cowboys and the Niners and the Falcons, I mean, just to go from the Cowboys and the Niners is certainly kind of crazy. T.O.'s another one up there. I'm going to throw it out there, too. We got another one for you. Favre.
The old Favre.
Mr. Brett Favre.
Quattro.
Which is kind of crazy now, because you've had Aaron Rodgers, quote unquote, do the same thing.
Oh, buddy, if I can, just quick tangent.
Yes, we love tangents.
I am more interested in watching that dumpster fire in New Jersey.
Yes, it's not New York.
It's not New York. For you folks out there that are not as geographically sound on the Northeast.
Ooh, we should save this one for Jay.
Ooh.
Where do the New York Giants and New York Jets play football?
Excellent.
Jay. Question mark. Because most people know that, but
right.
Hopefully he's not listening. But give away the answer.
Well, hey, maybe he's doing his homework. But anyway, Rodgers. If Rodgers implodes and the New York media eats him alive, that is going to be the most entertaining part of this upcoming football season to me.
Well, what's is funny is right now, we love Aaron. He's going to Taylor Swift concerts. The New York media's loving him, all this stuff. He says he loves the vibe in New York. So he's definitely on a high right now, and the New York fan base is definitely pulling for him to do well. But, what do you think? I know you want him to implode and do terrible, but what if it's the opposite?
I think that team is stacked enough. And again, the Jets have been also a QB carousel for many years.
Just terrible.
And I mean, you had Adam Gase ruining quarterback. Basically anybody that's been there. I actually like Saleh as a head coach.
I was so sad when we lost him as our defensive coordinator, but that just seems to be what we do as Niners now. All of our coordinators go elsewhere. But we get draft picks when they do that, so that's good. But
that's true.
Saleh's a great defensive coach.
Yeah. But I was going to say, for that offense and that team, they should be great. But again, that's why they play the games.
Should be is key. What about your boy Roger Clemens?
What about Clemens? That's a good one, yeah.
Talking about traders. Bo Sox and the Yankees.
Yeah. He was up in Toronto.
Yeah.
I bet Jay knows that one.
The Maple Leafs territory.
Oh, yeah.
It's the old Blue Jays. Yeah,
Clemens was a good one, because that's going back a bit, too, so...
I'll throw it's so funny. A lot of these have to do with the Yankees-Boston Red Sox rivalry.
Of course, the Boggs.
Wade, yes, yeah. You got it.
Wade.
Very nice. Very nice. Yep, Wade Boggs, another one.
Oh, yeah. He was really, back in the day, that was really viewed poorly on his behalf. Well, from the Boston standpoint.
Yes, not from the Yankees standpoint.
Yeah, I might be a little biased again in my opinions. A little skewed.
Speaking of Boston and rivalries, how about your boy who got knocked out and let Tommy come in, Drew Bledsoe?
Yeah, well, we kind of shipped him up to Buffalo and said thanks for playing.
He was the biggest contract in NFL history at the time.
Bingo.
Then he gets injured, and then the rest is history with Tom Brady. Goes up to the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, he kind of never really, got back to fruition after that.
So whenever they say you don't lose your job to an injury in sports, That's
complete BS.
That's real cute.
Yeah, because it happens all the time, especially when a skinny little guy from Michigan comes in, and sometimes all you need is that one. It's like Brock Purdy. So you just need that opportunity.
Rooting for Brock.
And you don't know. That's another topic for conversation. How many people out there, if they just would have had one shot, would have went on to be absolute superstars? There could be hundreds. And
You'll never know. Yep, until that time comes where you get your shot and better make the most of it.
Yep.
It's kind of like how one Bailey Zappi in New England last year.
Yes.
Everybody got a Zappi fever.
Yep. Zappy, I forgot about him.
Oh, he was fun.
Maybe we'll talk a bunch of NFL tomorrow.
Maybe
I'm going to leave it. We got about a minute left. I'm going to leave it on one more. We got Nick Saban. A lot of people don't forget about that, especially all the bandwagon Alabama fans out there that have been around recently. You know, he was with LSU from 2000 to 2004, I believe, won a national championship, then went to coach the Dolphins for a year and realized that was an absolute disaster.
That was not for him.
So that he left Miami, even though he said he never would, and went to Alabama, and the rest is history. So
good local tie back, amigo.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if that one's as big because LSU hates Alabama, but does LSU hate Alabama because Nick Saban's there? I don't know. That's probably another topic for another day. We do have 1 minute left on the show today, Bill. It's been an absolute blast. Let's do it again tomorrow if you're up for it.
You know what? Book it.
Book it, Dano. We're going to run it back tomorrow and have some more fun on the Inside Drive. We've been sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Don't forget, coming up later on today, as every day of the week, we've got 3 great local shows. Coach James Hale's show from 7 to 9 every morning, and then followed by us, the Inside Drive from 11 to 1, the only show that switches from the morning to the afternoon, and then the Afternoon Underdogs every afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. Tomorrow morning, we'll be back on the air live at 11 o'clock. We'll be talking about the big NHL game tonight. Who you got in tonight's game? Real quick, you got about 5 seconds.
Ice Cats.
Ice Cats for the dub.
House money, people.
House money. You cannot not bet on those Miami sports teams right now. You've been listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We will see you tomorrow.
Only 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida could bring sports fans like you an app this powerful. The sports content